And we are live. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you to everyone watching us back as a recording.
Yes, thank you, everyone, for joining us. Tonight, we're joined by the family of Tyler Low, his sister Logan, and his dad Chuck. Tyler disappeared from Damariscotta, Maine on May 5th, 2025, so just 16 days ago. Logan and Chuck, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you guys very much.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure who wants to talk first, but if one of you guys could kind of talk about Tyler and him growing up, the kind of kid he was, the hobbies he's into.
Of course. My brother was very big, as we all have realized, in the woods. Fishing, hunting. He would do parkour and run and jump over cliffs and go into caves. And he also had a very big love for skateboarding back when we were little. My father actually built him a half pipe in the backyard. Him and my mom, best friends. Him and dad, best friends. He was my little built-in best friend. We had the same love for football teams. But every time he had the chance, he'd be out in that woods. He's very empathetic. He loves who he loves, and he loves hard. He puts everything out there, and he does not care. He is very overly unique, in the best ways possible. Me and him were very close as kids, still very close now, but we were joined at the hip all the time, and we went everywhere together, and our whole family went everywhere together. We're a very close-knit family still now.
And what's the age difference between you and Tyler?
We are 5 years apart.
5 years, yeah. So he was a protective older brother, right?
Yes, he was, but then it switched, and I became the protective younger sister. we switched there, but the picture there on the left, we were at one of his gigs that he would play music. He can shred the guitar like no tomorrow. And his genre is screamo, and it is not a lot of people's cup of tea, but man, could he do it.
So it's not like romantic country. It's
oh heck no.
Actually, I think I'm gonna skip ahead to the picture of him shredding here. Here he is.
Yeah, he can shred that guitar. And my brother is not very social. Like, he's not a big social person, and he doesn't like crowds, but as soon as he was behind that mic, that was his thing.
So he was a singer too?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, cool.
And he was guitar, singer, drums, all of it.
He did all.
Is he currently in a band now?
I believe he just jams with a couple of friends, but he hasn't really gone out and done gigs for a while now.
Okay. I'll skip back to pictures of you guys together here. Yeah, you can tell in these pictures how close you are.
Yes, me and him were built-in best friends from the start.
Nice. So, after school and everything, what was Tyler doing for work?
He actually has been working with my father with his sheetrock business since he was about 10.
Yeah.
10 years old.
Wow.
Yep. They've been working together every single day since then.
So that takes talent. I can't hang sheetrock for
Take talent, hard work, all of it.
Yeah.
He was a hard worker, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
He ever loved it, but he put up with it, I'd say.
It wasn't his favorite job that he wanted to do, but when he did it good.
Yeah. So you guys, Chuck, you and your son work together almost every day.
Every day, yeah.
Wow.
Unless we had a split day or something, and then we'd be together every day. It's really, it's hard that seat next to me that it's not filled anymore. And I pick them up every day, and it's just a total change in life.
And even after they would go to work, they would go fishing afterwards. They were every day they were together.
So I'm sure you guys are closer than a lot of father and sons.
Yeah,
I think so. So.
Especially him being 34, still being able to, there's a lot of people that after their 20s and 30s, it becomes, every week or so you might get to see family or whatnot. Other people start having other stuff going on. So that's actually, that's really wholesome to hear.
Yeah.
It's very, very nice relationship.
Now, who's the baby he's holding here? Is that one of your children?
In the middle picture, he is holding my oldest son.
Okay, yeah, nice.
And
this is his
and my oldest son
wife?
now is 7, and they are twins. They literally exactly alike.
Cool. And this is his wife or girlfriend on the right?
Yeah, that is his girlfriend, Carol.
Carol, yeah. And I've seen, and she's posting all over social media as well. I think actually I saw her post first about Tyler. So yeah, there he is. So if you can, well, let's go back into, I'll remove this. So the days leading up to his disappearance, what do you guys know, or what have you put together?
He was at work with you all week.
All week until Thursday, and we had Friday off.
And that Friday off was the day that he called the suicide hotline.
All right. And Chuck, did he mention anything to you? Did he disclose anything to you about how he was feeling, or did he seem off at all the week before?
He never seemed off to me. Sometimes, he'd get peed off, but I had never saw anything coming, and I just don't know how I missed it.
We don't know how any of us missed it.
No, everybody missed it.
Yeah,
and buddies.
You
right,
can't,
especially like working with him every day, right? Like I assume you guys must have been pretty open about stuff, right? Like no secret sort of stuff.
No secret sort of stuff. But I guess he was holding something and then didn't want to tell me or didn't confide in me, which kind of really hurts too. And
it sucks to know that he didn't feel safe to come to one of us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's too bad. So how do you know he called the suicide hotline?
His girlfriend Carol went through his phone when he didn't come home Monday night, and we saw that he called in the call log.
What do you remember? What time Friday he had called?
Sometime in the afternoon.
Yeah, it was in the afternoon.
It wasn't like late at night or anything. It was just like within the middle of the day, I believe.
Yeah. Is there anything that you guys know of that was going on in his life? I know you said he didn't confide in anything, but had there been a recent death of somebody close to him or anything like that? Or
no, there was no
good.
There was no recent deaths. There was no like death date, like a date that came up to somebody that he loved. There was no date or anything like that. Oh, Carol, 3:15 he called.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, there was no like, it wasn't a specific date of like somebody that has passed in our lives. There was nothing significant about that day, or there was nothing significant that we thought leading up to it either.
So that weekend, did you guys see him that weekend at all?
The last time I saw him was Thursday. He came over I brought him over after work, and we sat on the porch with his mother, and I don't know, for 3-4 hours, and just talk, because he doesn't get to see her as much because he works with me, and I drop him off every night, and if we're in this area, then I'll bring him over, and that was the last time I saw him.
And then I believe he spent the whole weekend with his girlfriend Carol, just at home.
So they hadn't gone out or anything. And I know Carol's on here watching, but did she say anything weird happened that weekend that she's aware of, or did he confide in her in anything?
Well, for a little bit, he would have his moments of being like, I hate this, I hate that. Like his emotion would skyrocket very quick. And Carol's like, if you're really struggling like that, then let's talk to somebody. Let's go get some help. Let's go do this. And then he would just die back down. And then on Friday, he confided in one of his band buddies that he was struggling. And that's who did not outspeak about that or tell anybody. And then he called the suicide hotline, and it was done and did from there. But we didn't see this coming, and that I think that's the biggest downfall here on our end.
Yeah. Did Carol, his girlfriend, did she mention him like having a hard time sleeping or anything that weekend?
No, nothing different, but like sleeping or eating.
She said he was very quiet. Like she'd ask him, a couple times, maybe, you all right? And he'd just say, yeah, I'm just hanging. nothing really out of the ordinary to her, because he had his ups and downs, and
And he
Right,
has
like we all do.
our lives. Yeah, of course.
yeah, we do.
But then him to call a hotline like that, because he wouldn't even speak to us about his emotions, but him to call a hotline and speak to a complete stranger, obviously he was struggling.
No, was there anything like in the past, any like big deaths or anything, like, I don't know, say it like traumatic, anything that might have happened to him when he was like a teenager or anything, or even the last few years?
And my grandmother passed away with cancer when I was 18, but he never voiced out that bothered him, because at that time we all didn't really have a great relationship. Our Uncle Mark passed away, but he was only 10.
Well, Carol said that he wrote anything about that.
I guess he was having an issue with our grandmother passing, but we had no idea that bothered him, because like I said, we weren't close in that moment that she passed.
And Carol says, we were together all weekend, did store run Saturday, then home rest of weekend. He was really quiet, but nothing in the way that worried me.
Right.
So he was hiding it well, it sounds like.
Right. And in the Monday morning that he disappeared, he was supposed to go fishing with my dad. He had his fishing license set out because he haven't been able to find it, and he had his bands on to go to work. And
yeah, I texted him Sunday night and asked him if he found his fishing license. He said yes. I said, want to hit the river after work? He's like, absolutely, let's do it. And come Monday morning, I pulled down in there to his house at about 8:30, and
he was gone.
I just sat there, and I figured, well, maybe he's just having a bad morning and he's sleeping or something. So I pulled out and called Carol, and she said, well, he was there when I left. That was like 6:30. She left, and so I turned around and went back and looked in the bedroom, and there was nothing. And
that's pretty much where it started.
Much where it started.
What time did you go back? Was it around 9 then at that point, probably, or?
I mean, I didn't even get out his dirt road by the time I got done talking to Carol, and I turned right around, because I would talk to my wife too, and she's like, "Well, go in and look. What's the matter with you?" Sometimes
Mom was looking out for him.
He needs to be left alone, and But what was weird is he would always text me if he didn't. Even that morning, in the mornings, say, Dad, I'm just not coming to work today. I don't feel good or whatever. And I figured it was one of those days, but I didn't get that text, so it kind of hit me kind of funny.
So you go into the house, you can't find him in the bedroom. What is your first thought? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what
right?
Yeah, very strange.
And he has down behind his house, he has like a range that we would go and practice before we would go hunting. And so that's the first place that he went down to go look, because maybe he thought maybe he's just down there blowing off steam or just hanging out, and he wasn't down there either. And then Carol came home, and that's when they checked the game cam and was trying to figure out where the heck he went. And
so is that game camera like on the side of the house somewhere, or is it in a tree?
That would be like right on the side of the house.
Yeah, on the side in the woods on a tree.
But it's right behind the house. Like it's not.
I'll show that picture. So this is what you guys saw on the game camera. Was there any other images you have besides this one?
No,
and I will say that the date and time is wrong. It's just the game camera you guys she had set up there, or someone had set up. He had never actually did anything with a date and time, obviously, because the date and time is incorrect. But this was probably like one of the last images you have him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What time do we think that's supposed to be?
We estimated at about around 7:30.
Okay.
And I had asked when you had sent that to me, I asked what he had on his wrist, and you had said, "Oh, this is braces for work."
Yes,
so
he wears.
It looks like
their wrist.
Yeah, it looks like he was getting ready to go to work.
Yeah, it looks like he had all amped of going to work, and just between 6:30 and 8:30, a flip switched, and he just felt the need that he had to leave.
Now, was it common for him to like just go for walks before heading into work, or?
No, and it also was not common for him to go out without his phone.
No.
He left everything in the
He
house.
always had his phone.
Yeah.
Brooke says it's always heartbreaking when family members or friends aren't comfortable coming to us with issues, but sometimes they just need to talk to those on the suicide hotline. Can be a great resource. I know when I've struggled, I didn't want to bother my parents. Please, everyone, if you're feeling down or alone, call 988 or reach out to someone you are valued. It's funny because I didn't realize that was the number, and I'd actually got this picture, Brooke. So thank you for bringing that up. The Suicide Crisis Lifeline is 988, so it's easy number. If you or a friend of yours needs it, should be fairly easy to remember. And there's people there that are trained and are willing to help you. So this is Monday. By 9:30, you guys realize something's wrong, right? He went to the woods.
Yeah.
Or did you think, Chuck, that he maybe just went for a walk?
No, not because he would have told me.
He would have texted
He
them.
would have texted me something that. No, it was so spontaneous. I think that I don't even think he woke up thinking that. To be honest with you, I don't think he woke up with that intention.
Had he ever talked about harming himself in the past?
Never.
And now these woods out back here, I assume that he's very familiar with the property out back here, right? He probably spent a lot of time out here.
Yeah, so he knows the woods from where he is at his home and all the way down to my parents' home. I actually sent in a picture of the map to kind of base off of how much woods.
She's asking, did he carry a weapon with him typically?
Yes. Typically when he went out in the woods, he did, yes.
I'll actually show it. This is the map you're talking about, I believe, right?
The one on the left, the top red pin is where he lives, and the bottom red pin is where my parents live and where he grew up his whole life, and he knows all those woods in between, like the back of his hand.
Okay.
And how far?
And they said it was about 3,000 acres. About 3,000 acres in between there.
Wow. And so the one on the right is what they said they search and rescue, or Game Wardens?
Wardens, yes.
So it looks like they did cover a good sizable area.
They did.
I see like D11, D12, D13, E23. So there's some spots that still need to be searched. You guys are kind of conducting your own searches too, right?
Yes, we did. I couldn't get a good picture of the map, but we were doing our own searches for a whole week by ourselves before they came in to help us.
Yeah, so who made the phone call to the police to say that he was missing? Was that Carol?
Did. Yes.
And what time did she send that or call them?
I wasn't there when I first started. Probably around like 10.
Yeah.
Like 9:30, 10.
Well, your mother got there, and then he said, call the cops.
So this is pretty soon either way, right? After
yeah, it was like boom, boom, boom from our side.
Right. So what was their response to that? The police's response?
The Damariscotta Police were right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
The police officer that started the case, he was on the ball. He came right over.
They were just.
He's been really. I really give him kudos. He's been great. The Damariscotta police officer. And
he was trying his best to try to get us help and resources, and everybody was just turning him down.
Yeah, he went not out of his way, but he was doing his job, I think.
Yeah, and we'll say that right now too, is if anyone does have any information, about Tyler, the phone number for the Damariscotta Police Department is 207-882-7332. If you guys have any information whatsoever, please reach out to them.
So did he say why people were turning him down to come over and help?
So the biggest reason that they were saying that they didn't want to go in at first was, I think, because it wasn't long enough.
Yeah, that was first one.
That was their first reason. Another reason was because he did have his firearm on him, and they didn't deem that safe for them to go in.
So, and why do they believe his firearm was on him?
Because we couldn't find it in the house.
We couldn't find it. His holster was there that we found a couple days later, that we wanted to make sure that, you know, it wasn't hidden or something like that, and we just think he was out there doing something. And yeah, so they found his holster, a clip was missing, and they looked at like his shirt all ruffled up in the back, like you would stick a handgun down the back of your
yes, right in there.
you know, the back of your pants or whatever. And
Okay.
that's really all they went by for, and it was gone for us, so we couldn't not say that. And
Right.
you know,
That
I
still
wouldn't
seems
do
a bit bizarre that they took that as their, you know, reason to not go in.
Right. Because my
Like-
brother and my brother is not a danger to other people. In that moment, in this situation, he was only a danger to himself.
Yeah. Did anyone report any gunshots at all in that area?
No, but it also kind of dampers us because the gun range is right on the other side of the woods.
There's
Okay.
a rifle.
There's a rifle range, and we asked some neighbors if they heard anything that morning, and they said no, because they were home and they said they didn't hear anything.
But they're all kind of used to hearing guns going off, so
Exactly.
Yeah,
Wasn't
even if it
something
did,
loud.
they might have been background noise to them.
Exactly.
Sarah
That's something
Stewart-
to do.
Sarah Stewart has a question. Is this a public trail at all? Like, is it public trails around his house? Or is
I
it all
mean-
private property?
It's private property.
But you can also, if you go on, so like that picture of him right there, if he keeps going straight, he's going to hit the power lines, and that can lead to any type of trail.
Yeah,
Jeff,
there's snowmobile
There's snowmobile trails, old skidder trails, logging trails, game
it's
trails.
private property, but nobody pays attention. Like
right.
nobody would throw you off. They'd let you walk out there.
Hey, Jeff, I put the address in the private chat there. Are you able to pull that up in Google Earth just so the viewers can
Yeah,
kind
give
of
me a second.
see the area that we're talking about here? And I can show them kind of on the other map that it's all colored up until you can get that pulled up. This is hard to see
a little bit
here.
sluggish at the moment.
That's the power line is between the two red X's, right? His house he grew up in, and then his current location. There's the power lines kind of run almost through to each of them, right?
Pretty,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yep.
Right up to our backyard.
And it keeps going. The power lines go everywhere.
I've seen someone ask in the chat, is there any chance that he could have gone out into the woods because he heard something?
No.
And then
No.
not be gone this long.
No.
Right, Natalie Breton. Is it possible he was responding to something he heard in the woods?
No.
And did he have any enemies that you guys are aware of, or anyone that he owed money to, or anything like that?
No, we don't think foul play or anything like that is in account of this at all.
All right, so you truly believe that he went in the woods and committed suicide?
I truly believe that he went in the woods struggling. I do not have any, I have not had a thought that I have stuck on whether he committed suicide or a switch flipped for him when he's out there and just decided to stay out there, because I can see my brother staying out there because he's embarrassed. He thinks we're mad at him. He's scared to come home. And also I think he might not even know why he's not coming home if he still is here with us.
Right.
Because he obviously
and you
wasn't
can
in the
see
right
how that
state of
plays
mind.
out. Right, you could see how that, like, someone goes out there and they kind of go away for a little bit, and then they're like, maybe just to breathe, or maybe just to, I don't know. I'm not saying this is him, but some people might do it for a little bit of attention, but also then there is that embarrassment about coming back, and then, it's hard telling how that sort of plays out. But okay, we've got the house here, 178. Oh, I should have that on there.
Sue Baxter's asking, have they used tracking dogs yet?
Yes,
And the
they have
Game
had
Wardens
tracking
did come.
dogs. Yes.
And they weren't able to track him. They're not able to find any tracks of him, which is weird.
Nothing. But it also hurt us when they wouldn't come in to help us for the first week. It was just a week of rain.
True. So yes, it's quite a dense area. It looks like back there, other than the power line strip that comes through.
Dense.
Yeah, it's very
And it's very wetlands. There's a lot of swamps out there too. It's very hard to get around to certain places that you want to look unless you're going through the water.
So that the trail where he entered in behind the house there, does that kind of go more? Does that lead south, like towards his house he grew up in, or does it kind of lead more straight out towards the power lines?
It more so leads straight out to the power lines, which are right there behind his house. And then he could have went left down to where we grew up down here, or he could have went right and went towards Waldoboro. Or he could have walked past that camera to make us think he was going that way, double back and go totally somewhere else.
Yeah, what was the timer like on that camera? How often would that take a picture?
Yeah, that was kind of funny to me. I thought about the same thing. I thought by the time he got, because it was probably a good, 50 yards before he'd be out of sight. I thought that I'm not sure because I didn't open the camera and take the chip out, but I thought that would have taken another picture before he got to the bottom of that hill.
But that's what I'm wondering too. Is like usually they'll can get a few images of something, and what they're on, like sometimes they're on a delay, right? So it won't take more than one every 30 seconds or minute, or that's what I was wondering is what sort of timer, if any, it was sort of set on.
Yeah, I don't even think it was set up because the time was wrong. Like everything he just turned it on to take pictures.
Right.
He wasn't like setting it out for deer purpose or anything like that, but
kind of just to put on his property in a way.
So that had been there for a while, right? It wasn't something he just set up in the last week or anything.
No, that's been down there for a while.
Yeah, so I mean,
and because that does propose something interesting, because if it would have taken more than one photo, then like maybe that is something he did do, right? Is he went back and maybe deleted another photo of him, maybe coming back around, or maybe he just got close enough where he knew it would take a photo and then kind of went the other way.
Right.
Hopefully that's what happened, in my opinion. I mean, that sounds a lot better than being out in this thousands of acres of woods out here, right?
Well, that's not even the problem. He knows every acre out there. I think by the back of the it's as you look at the picture, it's how he went out in a t-shirt.
Yeah, in a t-shirt with no provisions and nothing. Because my brother loved going in the woods. He'd stay out there for like a week, 2 weeks. That was his place. The woods was his home. His house was his second home. But he would go out for weeks on end and just sleep on the ground and build fires and this and that. But he always had a pack. He was always ready for anything.
Yep.
And prepared, and just going out with a t-shirt and the pants that he had on, and the boots that he had were also way too tight. So those would not have been comfortable for him.
Yeah. Carol just bought him them boots, and she said he hated them because they were too tight, and he's like me. If they don't fit, then throw them away. But
so it does seem weird that he'd go for a long hike.
He wouldn't wear something that was too tight and uncomfortable. So
if he was planning on going far, I don't think he would have wore those boots.
Right.
But also, in my opinion, if he did commit suicide, around the areas that we've looked, you would think the dogs would be able to find him. That's a hard one also.
That grid, that search grid, looks pretty extensive.
Yes.
It is. And those blocks that weren't, I was going to mention that when you pulled it up and said there was blocks that weren't done. They finished all that.
Yeah, this was kind of the older. Yeah, that's the only picture I got.
That's the only picture we got from them.
That's good to know.
were finishing up the rest of those grids the day he shot me those pictures. So
Kayla is asking, is there any possibility he was picked up or went somewhere with someone but didn't want it known? Have any organizations found any sign of him in there or scent trails? You were telling me earlier that there's been nothing, right?
No, there's not been any sign. There's not been any footprints, no scent trails. And my brother, he doesn't have a lot of people. He has a very small group of people, and everyone that were his people have been out looking with us. And if anybody picked him up and brought him anywhere and has not said anything and has not told us after going through all this, then I that would not be good.
I have a comment here about, it says, have you checked any hospitals or crisis centers?
Yes, we have called all of those. We have checked every hospital. That was one of the first things that the Lincoln County Police Department did.
Okay, awesome.
I'm trying to catch up to some of these comments here.
You don't have to catch up to all of them, just so you know. There's a few, some might fall behind.
Here. No. So you had briefly mentioned it, but the Warden Service, they really didn't do anything until when? The Friday?
That Friday, we all made a bunch of calls. We were pushing, and I think that's the only reason they came Friday, because their original plan was that Monday.
Well, the state police was Monday, and then the wardens came earlier because they felt that, I guess, the threat was maybe over, or he would be in a different state of mind if they found him.
Right.
They owned up to what they did, but
they did.
Help us now.
When they went to their last meeting, the wardens admitted that they messed up and they should have went in sooner, and they apologized. But that doesn't really do anything for us.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm just going to answer. So Sarah Stewart's saying, was there any card activity or anything? No, he left everything behind at home, right? Like his wallet and everything. Yeah, wallet, phone,
everything.
Yeah.
He doesn't have credit cards. He pays in cash. He doesn't have a checkbook. He was just a simple, down to earth kid that
wanted to live off the land.
Didn't want really a lot to do with society, but had to deal with it when he had to, and he could, and he was just a good kid.
Christine says he could be at a camp somewhere, and if he needs to survive, he'd be doing well with a camp. I had read that online somewhere. Someone asked if you guys had checked some camps that are in the woods back there.
Yes, we have checked. We've checked all camps, buildings, little shacks, things that we came up on. The ones that people have told us to go check, we've gone and checked. We've checked all of his favorite spots that we used to go to as kids, all of our spots that we went hunting, even some of the spots that weren't even really in this area that we used to go fishing at. We checked all the quote unquote important things that we would think that he would know to feel comfortable or safe.
And I don't know if this is even anything that they could do. Lorianne said, did anyone contact the hotline he called?
So the police did, and they only could disclose a few things that they thought would help us. And like one would be that he would never, if he did go and commit suicide, we would never find him. And really, other than that, they just said that he was just struggling and having a conversation, but they couldn't give us much detail.
He had no plan. They also gave him that no plan to commit suicide when they talked to him.
But
he had no set plan to do it at the time. That was Friday.
But he had no set plan to do so. But he said if I did end up doing that, they would never find me.
Yeah, he always said that you would never find me if we were talking about somebody else that might have got killed or something. And he said if that ever happened to me, you'd never find me if I was going to do something. And that's proven to be pretty true right at the moment.
Yeah.
And Sarah, this is a good point too. They could have put the drones out the first day, using the drones, put no one in harm's way, right? Worst case scenario, they would have had the drone shot down.
Well, that was one of my brother's childhood best friends right there.
That's when they owned up to it, is why I told them my wife was never at any meetings. because they felt her son made her feel like he was not important to them, to the wardens. And I told them at the meeting why she wasn't there, because you failed my son. And you know, they owned up to it then, but before that, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere else, but I forgot.
Kale's asking, did they dive any of the bodies of water nearby, or did they just bypass that completely, the water? I mean,
They
typically they do.
bypass those. They bypass those completely. They wouldn't put divers in for us. So we
So
got
the
our
water
own
is still completely unchecked.
Unchecked.
We got our own underwater camera, and we're gonna go on a John boat and do it ourselves.
Well, they flew a plane today because, you know, they're waiting for something to come up from the bottom. So that's
How deep are the bodies of water? I see. Well, there looks like a small stock pond, but you know, Muddy Pond that looks pretty substantial.
Muddy is deeper than I thought it was. It's very deep in a lot of places.
Well, actually, that's
Yeah.
smaller. The bigger, smaller pond has a depth of 22 feet in the middle.
Is
Okay.
that this one here, the stock pond here?
No, you're talking about Muddy.
No, I'm talking about this one is
Oh, Half
a
Moon.
depth of 22
So,
feet.
so that would be more down to where he grew up. So that would be more
Oh, further south.
downward. Yes, further south.
You're right. Was that it?
Oh, right there.
Yep, those little bodies of water right there.
These guys down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the bigger one of the bunch, that's called Half Moon. We grew up with that. We grew up going fishing there and everything, and it can get pretty deep in there.
Yeah, that was just one of his favorite spots to camp when he went out there alongside the pond, and
He had a fireplace and
he'd
everything.
stay away from the bigger lake over there because muddy. I think just because there's camps there, and he just
Yeah.
wanted
So,
to be alone. Out
did
here,
they-
he was alone.
Did they search that area around that pond?
Yes, they did search around it. Yes.
But they didn't want to put any divers into it.
No. We were the only ones that even went on top of it with boats.
Really, they didn't even put boats in it.
No,
And how clear is that? Is it fairly easy to see? I know most ponds
No,
usually aren't the most clear, so
It's very murky. They
Yeah.
all are.
Let's see.
no. We even asked for if they would do something with the waters, and I don't know why. They just don't feel he's in there, I guess is what they're kind of saying. I don't.
But we thought he was in the woods too, and he's not where they checked either. So
well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, they ruled out 3,000 square or acres or whatnot, like a lot of land. Like, why not
Yeah.
check the next possibility, which I would say, yeah, would be the bodies of water.
yeah,
Right.
Logan,
they left us hanging with a lot.
I saw you posted asking if anyone had any night vision goggles or anything. What were you gonna do with that?
Actually, we had an older woman tell us that she kept seeing like flashlights out behind her house and possibly somebody being in her garage. And that was really the only quote unquote lead or somebody possibly seeing anything for us. And so honestly, I was going to give myself night vision and stick my little butt up in a tree. And if my brother was out there still struggling, walking around, I was going to try to find him that way. Because everything else that we're doing just isn't working. And I thought maybe if he is still walking, he would go at dusk.
Okay.
Mhm.
I do actually have night vision binoculars that I could loan you.
Yeah, that would.
How far away was that lady's house from the location? Is it on Heater Road too?
No, so she was on a different body of water called Bisky. It's to the right of Muddy up there. And she was actually off on a side on that, and we have the side that she was on, we haven't checked there yet. So we figured maybe he put himself over where we wouldn't think to look. And so we decided we put up a bunch of game cams over there, so hoping that we can get something.
Okay,
Like,
so
I'm
this is
quit
Bisky
camping. I'm
here.
actually camping there 4th of July week.
Yeah, Biscuit's a pretty big body.
Yes, Biscuit is very
Oh, is
big.
it that long one
Yeah,
there?
this long one here.
Yep.
That might be. Have you had a chance to check in around her property at all?
Yes, actually, was that yesterday? I
Yeah.
don't even know what day it is. Yes, yesterday when we heard about all of that, me and one of my friends went one way, him and my mother went another, and then a couple other people were in there, and we kind of just flooded the woods to see if we could see any sign quickly before it went away somewhere. We didn't see any sign of anything in the garage that somebody, if it was him or not him, supposedly was going in. There was no footprints, so we just decided to put some game cams out there to be our eyes.
Okay, that's smart. And then Brian's asking, are you guys still searching the woods yourselves?
Yes, we are going to
Absolutely.
continue. Actually, tomorrow we are going to hop over the power lines going Waldoboro way. So anybody that wants to put boots on the ground, just give us a call, give us a message, and we can tell you how to help and where to go.
Awesome. Is there? Well, this is the contact number for Damariscotta Police Department. Should they reach out to them too to make contact with you, or how do you want to?
As of right now, they're kind of just deploying dogs and this and that when they can. So really, we're kind of on our own again until we find some sort of lead. So if they want to like shoot me a message, shoot Carol a message.
Okay.
So yeah, the Damariscotta Police Department number again is 207-882-7332. If anyone has any information, please reach out. So to get a hold of you, is that on Facebook be the best way for someone to get a hold of you?
Yeah. I
Okay.
always check on messages.
And
So
what would
Logan Low or Carol Benner,
Logan
right?
Low. Yep, Logan Low or Carol Benner.
Okay. So there was, you'd mentioned earlier that he had potentially spoken to some people close to him that he was not in a good way.
Yes, he spoke to one of his band members that he affiliates with and does band and stuff, and he told him that he was struggling, and he told him that he was just done with everything. And he actually, I believe, was the one that told him to call the suicide hotline, which is that is a great thing to say. But I also, somebody should have been told. Just dismissing that, tell him to call a number and dismiss it, that is not good enough for me.
Right,
Did
reach
he
out
say-
to someone else that's close and say like, hey, by the way,
Right.
like he's feeling
Ano-
these ways.
Another friend, his girlfriend, anybody. Not just keep
Yeah.
that in, knowing he's calling this hotline and just hoping it's just going to go away. It's not just going to go away.
And Christine has another comment here. How helpful has people been in the area as far as like offering up, game cameras and letting you know if they see anything on there? Does everyone know that he's
we've had
missing, in the area?
I mean, it's around, and one of my friends, his childhood best friend, literally put missing posters on the telephone poles going all the way through town. We put missing posters in stores and just everything.
Andrew's asking, why is this not on the local news channels? I've seen a little bit about it, and really that's kind of why I like having you guys on here, because you get to know, the person more, the background.
Yeah.
You get to hear more about the story, because if you go online, all you hear is that, he left home at 7:30 in the morning on May 5th and hasn't been seen since. And Game Wardens have looked for him, but can't find anything. Like, it's not a lot online. So I'm glad that you guys were able to come on here and tell us a little bit about Tyler and the situation. Have you has news agencies reached out to you guys and wanted to interview you or anything?
They have not reached out to us. The wardens actually had to be the ones to tell them to post the news articles like on Facebook that they have been posting. I have reached out to the news to try to get like a one-on-one just to talk about. I have gotten nothing back from the news. They want nothing to do with it.
I don't get it. Like some stories they jump right on and other stories they don't. And it makes no sense to me.
That's
This doesn't
bizarre.
fit with what they want to. This doesn't fit with what they want to put on there, I guess.
There was the guy from Rumford that went missing about the same time.
Yeah.
About the same age, and it seemed like he got a little more media attention than your brother did. I don't know if it's because your brother walked into the woods, and this guy's in Rumford, where it's a little more bigger city. I don't know. I actually passed through Rumford the morning that guy went missing. I'm pretty sure I saw him. He was wearing a gray hoodie and black backpack, and that's what he was found with. So it's kind of weird
I
that I
also,
happened to be
I
driving
also
through.
think that another reason for them to not see it as a very big serious thing is because they kept calling him a survivalist. And yes, does my brother know how to survive in the woods? Of course he does. He is one of the best. But for him to walk out with a t-shirt and no gear, he wasn't planning on going out there to be out there long. And it's been 16 days now.
And Sarah says, if this was a police officer's child, it would be all over the news. Potentially.
In a heartbeat.
They were told that.
Yep.
They were told that.
Good.
Yeah, we did not hold back with them. We did not care.
Or even like this, Kayla says, if he was a criminal on the run, it'd be a different story. So sad, disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. If he would have hurt somebody, if he would have vandalized anything, if he would have done anything else, they would have been in that woods on that day.
And Carol said you guys had reached out to more than 10 people called news stations first week, and they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I called
blows my
radio,
mind.
all of them.
Yeah, they didn't do anything until the wardens. Well, we told the Damariscotta Police and asked them why it wasn't on TV. We emailed them
And we were sitting down there. There was one warden, one police officer, and then a couple of us. And the warden looks at the police officer and he goes, well, you guys have put something on your Facebook, right? People got to know this is good. And the cop's like, well, no, we haven't done anything yet. We got left high and dry for way too much. My brother deserves so much more.
And like when I reached out to you, I kind of feel weird sometimes reaching out to families like this, especially so soon afterwards, because I don't know what the reaction is going to be. And I'm so grateful you guys were willing to come on and talk about your brother in the story here. It is weird for us though too, like I said, to reach out to families in this type of situation. So thank you for answering my text message or email.
We need help. We need all the help we can get. We need volunteers. We need boots on the ground. If you have a hunting dog that tracks, bring them over. You have drones, anything. We will take anything. Sonar on boats to go look through some water along with our underwater cameras. We just need help.
Yeah. I may actually, Jeff, are you working Friday?
Yes.
Oh, of course you are. I may actually be over in the area on Friday. I'm off Fridays from work, so maybe I'll take a drive over and see if I can help you guys out too.
Yeah, that would be very grateful. Thank you.
I do have a drone. My brother actually has a submersible drone that goes underwater, so maybe I could borrow that from him even.
Yeah, that would be cool. Because we will never give up, because no matter what happened to him in that woods, he needs to come home.
I just want to put this back up here again. The Suicide Crisis Lifeline is 988. Quick and easy to remember as a suicide prevention lifeline. So if you or someone else needs to call and talk to someone, call 988.
Yes, and do not dismiss people that are telling you they're hurting. Help them get help.
Yeah, because if they're already talking about it with other people, then it's gone further than it ever should.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Any more?
Oh, this Crystal, her son was missing. Unfortunately, he was found, passed away. But I hope you get some help. Luckily, Travis did get a hold of me, or we wouldn't have had any help at all, because none of his friends, nothing came out for my son. I think we had 10 people all together, and most of them were family. Yeah, Jeff and I had gone up there and helped look for her son. We were pretty close to where he was ultimately found too. That's the
that was actually where they found him, was where one of the spots we wanted to get. We just couldn't get to it that day.
Yeah.
It's a very scared, unpredictable world we live in.
Yeah.
Sarah says they have a boat and 2 hunting dogs.
Bring them. Anything. We will take anything. And even if you can't go out and walk in the woods and you want to help, food, water, snacks. We love people coming down and just sitting with us, so we have company, comfort, anything.
All right. So do you guys have anything else you want to say before we end for the night?
you have anything to add, Dad?
I don't think so.
Like I said, just if you want to help, boots on the ground, even if you can go out for 3 hours, that is 3 hours of places that we are looking. So anybody, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to my story about my brother.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, there's been a lot of people watching. I think we've been sitting close to 200 people, so there's a lot of eyes that are seeing this, and hopefully you guys can get the support that you need, and hopefully the Game Wardens or whoever has resources can actually throw some effort your way as well, because it's ridiculous. You guys are having to put in this much. I understand you would be anyways, but it seems like you guys are putting in more than what they are.
Yeah, we should. Exactly. We did pretty much their job for them.
Yeah. But again, if anyone wants to reach out to help, so you can find Logan Low on Facebook, and I'm sorry, I forgot her last name, Carol Benner. And here's her message here, so you can see her name. Please help bring Tyler home. Thank you for the podcast. We appreciate you. Anytime.
Yes,
but that's her name as well. No, anytime, and obviously reach out to us with any sort of updates, anything that we can do. If I didn't have a lot of stuff already happening this Friday, I'd be more than willing to come help. But hopefully Travis can make it up there. And assist.
So the people watching, just keep sharing his posters, his missing posters.
Absolutely.
Talk to your friends, talk to your family about him. Even share this so people get to hear more of the story.
If anybody goes up north or in different areas and wants some posters to hang up in stores, please contact me and I can get some printed off.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, we really appreciate you guys joining us. Please have a good night, and hopefully we're able to bring Tyler home soon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you guys so much for doing this.
Thank you very much.
Oh, right. Yeah, anytime. Okay, well, everyone else watching, thank you guys very much. We hope you have a great rest of your night. If you guys want to stick around after we finish this so we can talk a little bit, there's a little video that will play, same as the intro, but we'll end after that, but we can talk if you want to stick around. So thank you, everyone. We hope you all have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Search for 5-year-old Taylor Williams led investigators to Alabama this week.
So we have some breaking news from Florida. An arrest has been made in connection.
After years of agony, a glimmer of hope for the family.
Investigators spent hours searching through this house off Pennsylvania Avenue.
What could be a major development in the search for missing Alabama teenager.
Tonight, a stunning twist in the search for Taylor.
Somebody out there knows something.
They want to lay him to rest their way, not by somebody else's way.